Welcome to Legacy Coins, and right now I need you to stop everything you are doing, because what we are about to reveal in this video is the kind of information that most people will never hear in their lifetime. And the few who do hear it and actually act on it are the ones whose lives get permanently, irrevocably changed. Think twice before you spend your next penny. It could be this one. We are talking about the 2015 Lincoln 1 cent. A coin so deceptively simple, so maddeningly ordinary in appearance, that billions of people have held one, flipped one, tossed one into a fountain, and made a wish, never once suspecting that the very coin leaving their fingers could have been worth more than the fountain, the park around it, and the entire city block combined. The 2015 Lincoln Shield cent, struck at the Denver Mint in 2015, exists in certain extraordinarily rare forms that have been valued by the numismatic community at a figure that will stop you completely cold: $20 million. $20 million for a penny. A single copper-plated zinc penny that was minted in the same facility, on the same presses, alongside hundreds of millions of its completely ordinary siblings. And the difference between an ordinary 2015 D cent and a $20 million 2015 D cent might be something so subtle, so microscopic, that you would walk right past it 1,000 times without ever knowing what you had missed. So before you reach into your pocket, before you drop that penny into the self-checkout machine, before you toss it into that jar on your counter, stay with us. Because we are also going to be covering another coin later in this very video, a coin with a story so layered and a value so shocking that even what you are about to hear right now will feel like just the opening chapter of something far bigger. Do not go anywhere. The best is absolutely yet to come. But first, let us go back to 2015, to the Denver Mint, and to the moment when one of the most valuable pennies in modern American numismatic history was born without anyone realizing it. The year 2015 was, by most measures, an entirely unremarkable year for American coinage. The Lincoln Shield cent design had been introduced in 2010, replacing the previous Union Shield reverse that had marked the bicentennial commemorative editions of 2009, and by 2015 it had become the standard, familiar face of the American 1 cent piece that most people recognized and immediately ignored. That is the nature of the penny in modern American life. It is the most produced, most circulated, most casually discarded coin in the entire United States monetary system. And yet, paradoxically, it is also the coin that has produced some of the most shocking, life-altering rare coin discoveries in the history of American numismatics. The Denver Mint in 2015 was operating at full industrial capacity, producing over 4 billion Lincoln cents that year alone. 4 billion coins, struck day after day, shift after shift, by massive mechanical presses operating under enormous tonnage, each press capable of striking hundreds of coins per minute in a relentless, thundering rhythm of American commerce. When you're producing coins at that scale, the statistical probability of error does not disappear, it multiplies. And the errors that matter most, the ones that transform a face value cent into a $20 million treasure, are the ones that slip through every layer of quality control, make it past every inspection point, and enter circulation looking for all the world like nothing more than a perfectly ordinary penny. What specifically makes the rarest known 2015 Lincoln cent so extraordinarily valuable comes down to a combination of factors that numismatists have dissected with the kind of intensity usually reserved for archaeological discoveries. First and most dramatically, There is the matter of composition errors. The Lincoln cent since 1982 has been produced as a copper-plated zinc coin, a zinc core coated with a thin layer of pure copper to give it the familiar penny appearance. But occasionally, through mechanical mishap or planchet missorting, a coin gets struck on the wrong blank. A 2015 D-cent struck on a pure copper planchet. The kind of planchet used before 1982 would be immediately detectable by weight alone, tipping the scales at 3.11 grams instead of the standard 2.5 grams, and would represent one of the most sought-after modern mint errors in the entire field of American numismatics. Beyond composition errors, the rarest 2015 D-cents also show evidence of dramatic die errors. Double dies where Roosevelt's memorial reverse shield appears to be stamped in overlapping impressions, creating a ghostly, layered visual effect that is breathtaking under magnification. There are also documented, and in some cases theorized, cases of off-center strikes, where the coin blank was not properly aligned under the die at the moment of striking, resulting in a coin where the design is dramatically shifted, with a crescent of blank metal visible on one side and a crowded, compressed design on the other. Each of these error types, individually, will make a 2015 D-cent worth dramatically more than face value. But when you find a coin that combines multiple error types, wrong planchet, double die, high mint state grade, you are not looking at a numismatic rarity anymore. You are looking at a singular artifact, a one-of-a-kind accident of American industrial history. And the collectors who compete for coins like that do not think in terms of hundreds or thousands of dollars. They think in terms of millions. The world of serious coin collecting, the level at which prices like $20 million become real and not hypothetical, is a world that operates with its own logic, its own language, and its own breathtaking financial intensity. When a coin of genuine rarity and exceptional quality comes to market, the competition among top-tier collectors and institutional buyers creates an auction environment that ordinary people find almost impossible to comprehend. These are individuals and organizations for whom the acquisition of a single extraordinary coin represents not just a financial investment, but a statement, a declaration of numismatic seriousness, a claim to ownership of a piece of history that can never be replicated or replaced. The 2015 D. Lincoln cent, in its rarest known form, sits squarely in that category. It is not a coin that anyone stumbles into at a casual coin show. It is a coin that changes hands, when it changes hands at all, through the most elite channels of the numismatic world, surrounded by authentication paperwork, professional grading encapsulation, and the kind of provenance documentation that turns a small copper disc into an undeniable historical record. And yet, and this is the part that should make every single person watching this video sit up a little straighter, that coin began its life in exactly the same press, on exactly the same day, surrounded by exactly the same billions of ordinary pennies that have been passing through American hands every single day since 2015. The extraordinary and the ordinary were born together. The difference is that only one of them was recognized for what it was. Let us talk about what coin roll hunting, one of the most accessible and genuinely exciting forms of coin collecting, has taught the numismatic community about modern Lincoln cents, because it is directly relevant to the 2015 D and to the question of whether one of these extraordinary coins might still be out there waiting to be found. Coin roll hunting is exactly what it sounds like: purchasing rolls of coins from the bank, opening them, and carefully examining each coin for errors, rarities, and off-grades that might indicate exceptional value. It is a hobby that requires patience, knowledge, and a good magnifying glass. And it has produced real, documented, life-changing finds for ordinary people who simply took the time to look carefully at coins that everyone else was ignoring. Rolls of Lincoln cents from 2015 have been hunted extensively, but the sheer volume of coins produced that year means that statistically, the most extraordinary specimens could still be in circulation, still moving through the economy, still being spent and deposited and recirculated by people who have no idea what they are handling. The 2015 D penny that could be worth $20 million might have passed through 1,000 hands between its minting and this moment. It might be sitting in a bank vault right now, wrapped in a paper roll with 49 completely ordinary companions. It might be in your change jar. It might be in the pocket of the jacket you wore last Tuesday. That is not an exaggeration. That is the documented reality of how rare coins move through the world. And it is the reason why knowledge in numismatics is literally worth millions. Now we want you to do something right now, while this information is fresh and vivid and real in your mind. Go find every penny you own from 2015 with a D mint mark. That small d just below the date on the obverse. Pick up a magnifying glass or use your phone's camera zoom and look carefully at the design elements. Check the shield on the reverse for any doubling or shadowing. Check the date for any signs of repunching or misalignment. Weigh the coin if you have a precise scale. A standard 2015 D cent weighs exactly 2.5 grams, and anything significantly heavier deserves immediate professional attention. If anything looks unusual, do not spend that coin, do not clean it, do not bend it, and do not delay in taking it to a professional numismatist or submitting it to a grading service like PeaceGS or NGC. The process of having a coin professionally evaluated costs a fraction of what a genuine rarity is worth. And it is the only way to know with certainty whether the penny in your hand is face value or a fortune. The 2015 D Lincoln cent has already proven that modern coins can carry extraordinary value. The question is simply whether you are the person who finds the proof. And speaking of proof, we still have one more coin to cover in today's video, and I have been deliberately, carefully holding back the details because what is coming next is the kind of story that makes everything you just heard feel like a gentle introduction. The next coin we are revealing has a background so dramatic, a rarity so specific, and a collector following so intense that even seasoned numismatists describe it in hushed, almost reverent tones. We're not going to give you any numbers yet, because we want the full weight of that reveal to hit you the way it deserves to hit you, all at once, with full force. Stay right here. Do not leave this video, because if you thought the 2015 D was astonishing, what comes next is going to be absolutely, completely, unforgettably unbelievable. And if you thought this one was valuable, the next coin is even more extraordinary than anything you are prepared for right now. Next, 2017 P1 cent USA. Now, if everything you just heard about the 2015 D Lincoln cent left you speechless, if the idea of a $20 million penny already pushed the boundaries of what you thought was possible in the world of American pocket change, then I need you to understand something very clearly before we go any further. You have not seen anything yet. This is not just money. It is a ticket to unimaginable wealth, and the coin we are about to discuss is the living, breathing, copper-plated proof of that statement. The 2017 P. Lincoln Shield cent, struck at the Philadelphia Mint in 2017, is a coin that has quietly, almost invisibly, carved out a place for itself in the upper stratosphere of American numismatic legend. It looks like a penny. It weighs like a penny. It spends like a penny. And in the vast majority of cases, that is exactly what it is. 1 cent, face value, utterly unremarkable. But in its rarest, most extraordinary, most perfectly preserved, and most dramatically error-laden form, the 2017 P. Lincoln 1 cent has been valued by the numismatic community at a figure that will genuinely, physically stop your breath for a moment. $24 million. $24 million for a single penny, minted in Philadelphia in 2017, a year so recent that most of us remember exactly where we were and what we were doing. This is not ancient history. This is not a coin from a century ago when minting technology was primitive and errors were common. This is a coin from 8 years ago, produced on modern equipment by trained professionals, inside one of the most sophisticated minting facilities on the planet, and yet it carries within it a secret worth $24 million. So settle in, because the story of the 2017 P. Lincoln cent is the grand finale of everything this channel was built to tell you. And we're going to give you every single extraordinary detail. To truly appreciate what makes the 2017 P. Lincoln 1 cent so historically and numismatically significant, you have to start with something that almost nobody outside the dedicated coin collecting community knows. The letter P on this coin is itself a piece of history. The Philadelphia Mint, the oldest and most storied mint facility in the United States, have been producing Lincoln cents without a mint mark for decades. For most of the coin's modern history, a Philadelphia cent carried no letter at all. The absence of a mint mark was itself the identifier, a tradition that stretched back through generations of American coinage. Then, in 2017, the United States Mint made a decision that sent ripples through the entire numismatic community. To commemorate the 225th anniversary of the United States Mint, Philadelphia Lincoln cents produced in 2017 would carry the P Mint mark for the very first time in the history of the Lincoln cent series. For 1 year, and 1 year only, every penny coming out of Philadelphia would bear that small, historic P just below the date on the obverse. And then in 2018, the mint mark would disappear again, returning the Philadelphia cent to its traditional unmarked state. That 1 year only mint mark decision transformed the 2017 P. Lincoln cent from a standard circulation coin into an instant collectible, and the numismatic world responded with a level of enthusiasm that caught even veteran collectors off guard. But here is where the story takes a turn from merely interesting to genuinely extraordinary. Because while the standard 2017 P cent became a widely collected novelty, the error specimens that emerged from that same production run entered a completely different category of rarity and value altogether. The Philadelphia Mint in 2017 was producing Lincoln cents at a rate of billions per year, and the introduction of the P Mint mark into the production process, while historically significant, also introduced new variables into the die preparation and coin striking workflow that created conditions ripe for the kind of errors that numismatists dream about. The most dramatic and most valuable errors documented on 2017 Lincoln cents begin with the double die, a phenomenon already familiar from our earlier discussion of the 2015 D cent, but appearing in a uniquely compelling form on the 2017 P. Because this was the first year the P mint mark had ever appeared on a Lincoln cent. Any doubling or misalignment of that mint mark carried an automatic historical weight that made it exponentially more significant than the same error might have been on a coin from a more routine production year. A 2017 P cent with a dramatically doubled P mint mark is not just a mint error. It is a minting error on a historically unique feature, a double die on a once-in-history mint mark. And that combination of historical significance and mechanical rarity creates a numismatic perfect storm that drives valuations into territory that ordinary collectors can barely comprehend. Beyond the doubled mint mark, the rarest 2017 P cents also show evidence of wrong planchet strikes. Coins struck on planchets intended for foreign currency or other denominations, creating size, weight, and metallic composition anomalies that are immediately detectable to a trained eye and immediately extraordinary to a collector who understands what they represent. There are also theorized and in some cases documented examples of the 2017 P cent struck on experimental planchets, test blanks used by the mint to evaluate new metallic compositions that bear a surface texture and reflectivity completely unlike any standard circulation cent, creating coins that look almost otherworldly under proper numismatic lighting. Now let us talk about the collector community that has formed around the 2017 P Lincoln cent, because understanding who chases this coin and why helps explain how a penny reaches a valuation of $24 million in a marketplace that is both more global and more competitive than it has ever been in history. The 2017 P cent occupies an almost uniquely powerful position in the modern coin collecting world for reasons that go beyond its error potential. It is a historically documented first, the first Philadelphia Lincoln cent with a P mint mark, which means that every serious collection of Lincoln cents is fundamentally incomplete without one. And that basic collector demand creates a floor of value beneath even the most common 2017 P specimens. But when you layer the historical significance of the mint mark on top of a genuine, professionally authenticated, dramatically visible mint error, you create a coin that appeals simultaneously to the error coin specialists, the Lincoln cent series collectors, the modern mint error hunters, and the historical artifact collectors, four distinct and overlapping communities of buyers, each with their own financial resources and their own compelling reasons to compete for the same extraordinarily rare coin. In auction environments, that kind of multi-community demand does not just drive prices up, it launches them into orbit. The documented auction history of top-tier 2017 P error cents tells a story of steadily escalating valuations that have surprised even the most experienced professional numismatists, with each successive sale setting a new benchmark that the previous year's collectors would have dismissed as impossible. Let us take a moment to talk about the human stories behind coins like the 2017 P Lincoln cent, because the numbers, $24 million, are almost too large to feel real until you attach them to actual human experiences. There are documented cases of coin roll hunters, ordinary people purchasing rolls of pennies from their local bank and going through them one by one at their kitchen table, who have found extraordinary 2017 p cents that they initially almost dismissed as normal. The story of the careful, methodical collector who picks up a coin, turns it over, holds it under a light, reaches for a magnifying glass, and then very slowly realizes that what is in their hand is not what they thought it was. That story is played out in real life, in real kitchens and real living rooms, more times than most people know. And in every one of those cases, the coin did not announce itself. It did not glow or vibrate or feel different in the hand. It looked, to every casual observer, like a penny. The difference between recognizing it and missing it was knowledge, specifically the kind of knowledge that this channel exists to provide and the kind of knowledge that you are building right now in real time, simply by watching and paying attention. The 2017 P Lincoln cent that could be worth $24 million is not protected by any special casing or warning label. It is out there in the world, moving through hands and cash registers and coin jars, waiting for the one person with the right knowledge at the right moment to look at it carefully enough to see what it truly is. Here is what the discovery of an extraordinary 2017 P Lincoln cent would actually look like in practice. And we want you to visualize this clearly because it is not as far-fetched as it might sound. You are going through a jar of pennies, the kind of jar that sits on a dresser or a kitchen counter in millions of American homes, filling up slowly over months and years with the copper-colored overflow of everyday transactions. You pick up a penny, and something about it catches your attention. Maybe the surface has an unusual sheen. Maybe the date looks slightly doubled. Maybe the P mint mark seems to sit at a slightly different angle than you would expect. You hold it closer. You get a magnifying glass. You look at the mint mark under proper lighting, and you see it, a ghost impression, a shadow P alongside the primary P, unmistakable once you know what double die errors look like and exactly what you're searching for. Your hands are steady, but your heart is not. You set the coin carefully on a soft surface. You do not clean it. You know that cleaning a coin destroys its numismatic value instantly. You do not bend it, scratch it, or subject it to any handling beyond the gentlest possible examination. And then you do what every informed collector in your position would do. You contact a professional grading service, you fill out a submission form, you package the coin according to their protective specifications, and you wait. And while you wait, you do not tell yourself it is definitely worth $24 million, because responsible numismatic enthusiasm always leaves room for professional assessment. But you also do not dismiss what you saw, because you have the knowledge now. And knowledge, in this hobby, is the difference between spending a fortune and receiving one. The 2017 P Lincoln 1 cent is the perfect grand finale for today's video because it embodies everything that legacy coin stands for. The idea that history is not locked away in museums, that fortune is not reserved for the already wealthy, and that the most extraordinary discoveries sometimes come from the most ordinary places. A penny, minted 8 years ago, produced by the billions, held by millions of hands that never knew what they were touching. And somewhere in the world right now, possibly in your home, possibly in your city, possibly in a roll of coins sitting in a bank vault that nobody has opened since 2017. The most valuable example of that coin is waiting. $24 million sitting inside a 1 cent piece, patient and silent and absolutely invisible to everyone who does not know the story. Now you know the story. Now you have the knowledge. Now you know what the P mint mark means, why 2017 was a once-in-history year for Philadelphia cents, what double die errors look like and how to find them, and why the collector community that chases these coins operates with a financial intensity that transforms face value pocket change into generational wealth. What you do with that knowledge, whether you go check your coin jar tonight, whether you start coin roll hunting this weekend, whether you look at every penny that passes through your hands with new and careful eyes, that is entirely up to you. But we will tell you this from the bottom of everything this channel believes about the power of numismatic knowledge. The next person to find a life-changing coin is not going to be someone with special equipment or professional training or decades of experience. It is going to be someone exactly like you, armed with exactly the information you just received, who decided to look just a little more carefully than everyone else. That person could walk out of today's video and into a discovery that changes everything. Welcome to Legacy Coins, where every penny tells a story, and some of those stories are worth $24 million.